So I'm no longer friends with Snunt. I know a lot of you guys have seen recent drama regarding Snunt and some other people, and I just thought I'd come on here and speak my mind about this entire situation. I'm not expecting anyone to choose sides or send any hate to anyone that I mentioned in this video. I just wanted to come on here personally and talk about the story and my point of view with like screenshots and other stuff like that. So many of you guys know that Snunt is a popular YouTuber and influencer, and honestly he was one of my closest friends like ever. Like I've never met anyone that I've been so close with in my life. Like I've spent hours talking to this guy every single day. I've helped him with so many videos, thumbnails, everything that he does day to day. Like I've been there for most of it. I even flew out to America for the first time ever to see him in real life. However, recently a situation happened where Snunt had doxed one of our close friends, Sin, and he had leaked Sin's full government name to around 23,000 people. So around a month ago, Sin had put an image of a famous rapper, Nine Vicious, in Snunt's general chat on Discord. This was like a running joke in our friend group where we had compared Snunt to this rapper and said he looked just like him. Now after this image was sent by Sin, Snunt went ahead and pinged 23,000 people stating Sin's full government name.
Snunt, can you look me in my eyes, Snunt? Can you look me in my eyes, Snunt? I'm done.
Everyone said, wow.
I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done.
Yeah, you did. Oh my god, no way.
Now recently I asked Snunt why he did this in VC, and this was his response. Okay, and then what about the first time you leaked his name when he sent a picture of Nine Vicious?
That was funny.
Yo, I think Snunt has enough drama.
Wait, what did you say?
Oh, that was funny.
So him showing a picture of Nine Vicious, so you send his full government name, that's funny?
Hey, my PR manager said I can't engage in this conversation.
Now ultimately, it's up to Sin to decide whether he forgives Snunt or not, and in that moment, Sin had forgave him, and that's totally fine. Like if Sin was to do that, that's up to him, you know? There's no arguing against it. Yeah, what Snunt had done was weird, but if Sin forgives him, then that's it. However, again, in recent times, Snunt had done the exact same thing again. Now Snunt claims that Sin had sent personal images of him in the chat, which led to him leaking his full name. However, others that were present in that moment, like me also, claimed that Snunt had sent Sin's full name first before Sin had sent any images. Now the image that they're referring to is this one right here. I have to blur it for privacy reasons, but it's just a picture of Snunt smiling. Now if Sin did send this, that doesn't justify Snunt leaking Sin's full government name, knowing how detrimental that could be towards him. Especially since he's a YouTuber with 200,000 subscribers, where his face is public in multiple videos that he's uploaded. So I wholeheartedly believe that Snunt was in the wrong in this situation right here. Now after this happened, Sin had made a YouTube video calling out Snunt on his behavior. Now this whole thing could have been spoken about in a VC rather than brought to the public eye. However, I don't blame Sin because this was the second time that Snunt had breached his trust. Sin did touch on some other topics outside of this scenario, like Snunt cheating and some out of context voice messages, which I don't think he should have done, as it didn't really relate to the topic at hand. Now this whole situation was initially between Sin and Snunt, and I had no involvement whatsoever. I'm going to talk about how Snunt was able to drag me into this somehow, some way. Now after Sin's video release, I had noticed that Snunt blocked me on every social media platform and banned me from his Discord server, but I still had his phone number, so I contacted him through there. So to give context about this, there was another image of Snunt's face circulating around that was a screenshot from a video that was arguably unflattering. Snunt didn't know where this originated from and only knew that I had access to this image. He then accused me of leaking said image to Sin and believed that I did this in spite of him. However, I showed him proof against this claim and explained that it was a pretty public image that a lot of people had. Now I was quite upset in this moment because Snunt was willing to block me, one of his closest friends, over an image that had nothing to do with me, and this ultimately led to me being upset with him and blocking his number. Now I like to say this is all petty drama. Like it's so outrageous and it all should have stopped right after this. However, then this happened. Now later on in that day, he had made another announcement in his server, but this time it was targeted towards me. He had made a claim that I had met up and did sexual things with a girl while I was in a relationship. And he said he did this because I was allowing people to send his face in my server. Now first things first, I like to say no, I didn't do any sexual acts with this girl. And I'm not going to bring her into this because she had nothing to do with this entire situation. And I don't want her being harassed and all other sorts of stuff. Now secondly, I was just so shocked shocked that Snunt was able to lie about me so publicly and so freely when I had done nothing wrong to him. Like in that moment, I felt so disgusted that I was able to trust this person with so much stuff about my life, and then they took stuff and tried to lie on my name about it. Like if Snunt genuinely had an issue with people sending his face in my server, he could have contacted me about that and told me to stop people from doing that, and I would have done so. However, because people were sending his face, he took that as if I was the one doing it and I was the one allowing people to do this. Now Snunt later on says that the reason why he blocked me was because he had exposed the fact that I cheated on my girlfriend, and that's why I switched up on him. Now I could just come on here and talk about Snunt's private relationship between him and his girlfriend, but I'm not going to do that because I understand that that's not the right thing to do in these types of situations, which is the same thing he should have done in this situation, where he should have contacted me instead of going into his server and pinging 23,000 people saying such an outrageous statement. So now after all of this had happened, people began taking sides in situations where they didn't have much context on, and then later on other things from Snunt's past started coming out. Now in this video, I'm not going to cover anything about Snunt promoting comm service for payments or making girls lie about their age to make people seem like predators, because me personally, I'm not exposing YouTubers and I don't want to make content like that, and also I haven't done enough research in these topics to where I can just come out and talk about it publicly. However, I did hear that some other YouTubers will be touching on those types of topics instead. I also want to touch up on a topic that's being spread around about Snunt going through mine and my girlfriend's DMs without her permission. Now this happened a couple months ago where Snunt was trying to make a video about a predator that he found. He wanted to convince her to come into his server so he could do a public stage for his chat. However, at the time of this, my girlfriend was the only one in contact with this girl because she had turned off all of her DMs. Now Snunt wanted to talk to this girl through my girlfriend's DMs and asked if he could sign in just to text her. It took some convincing, but we ended up agreeing on the condition that he doesn't go through anything else other than talking to her, and that later on he signs out. However, later on in that day, Snunt had breached that trust and went through our DMs without our permission. A couple of days later, he had come clean and told me that he went through our DMs and searched specific key terms like and other things related to that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what he wanted to try find or see, but he ended up finding a DM that he thought was funny, so he screenshotted it. He also found a video that he thought was funny too, so he decided to save that as well. Now at this time, me and my girlfriend didn't feel comfortable with Snunt doing this, and we confronted him about this, and his responses were kind of odd. Now me personally, I didn't want to lose an entire friendship over something so stupid because of something that he did, and so I ended up forgiving him myself. However, my girlfriend herself never forgave him, and she actually felt entitled to, only because I was still friends with him as well. Now regarding recent drama, me and Snunt did end up actually talking about this entire situation, and in the school he did admit to his faults and he did admit to lying about a lot of stuff. However, please don't expect me just to become friends with him or to act like nothing happened again, because that's all up to me and how I feel about him after this. Now me personally, I don't really feel comfortable ever speaking to him again. He had breached a lot of trust during our entire friendship, and he had done a lot of things that I just didn't feel comfortable with. I'm not gonna go over everything he's ever done because that's all in the past. It's just up to me, and all I can do is hope that he can learn from this situation and understand how everyone feels about the things he's done. Now I never had any intentions of being dragged into this, and I never wanted to in the first place, and I kind of just got roped into it, which really sucked, I'm not gonna lie. And honestly, it's been a rough couple days. I've barely slept, I barely ate, like it's just been very hard on a lot of people involved in this stuff, and I hope that everyone watching can understand that and try not to harass anyone that was mentioned in this video at all. And if anyone has any other questions regarding this stuff, I'm happy to answer all of them.